Hey, Carrie here. We're at the Kickstart Your Business Summit 2026. It's time to get things rocking and rolling for the year. Guys, I want to make sure that you are registering for the summit. Up there at the top, you see the QR code? Go to that QR code and register, because if you don't register, you won't get the gifts. There's a whole bunch of free gifts that all of the speakers are giving out. And on top of that, there's VIP gifts that you can have access to, but only if you've gone and registered first. So make sure that you do that up at the top of the screen. So next, we're going to be talking about a very important subject in business, and that is building instant trust and credibility through speaking. So you're going to want to be with us. And so go grab whatever refreshment you need, because we're about to get started in 10 seconds. All right, we are back, and I'm so excited to be introducing to you one of my good friends, Danielle Benson, who is helping speakers, get things moving here. She has devoted her life to exploring the agility and power of the voice body instrument. And it's a journey that began in classical theater and took her around the world before she founded the Inspired Speaker Academy. So, ladies and gentlemen, you want to put your hands together for the awesome and the amazing Danielle Benson.
Oh my goodness, what an amazing introduction. So full of energy. It's wonderful. How can I not feel energized after that? Thank you so much, Carrie. We're going to be speaking about speaking. It's a little meta, but go with me. Speaking is the most effective way of communicating. It's the most effective form of human communication that there is. That is why we are still doing it. That is why we still have TikTok and YouTube and conferences and Toastmasters and all of these things, because it is still so important. It's in our blood. We've been telling stories around the campfires for a very long time, a lot longer than we've been writing down our stories. And so I want to talk about that, because even though speaking is the most effective way of communicating, a lot of business owners aren't leveraging it quite in the way that they could be. Some of us are doing it a little bit wrong, and we're not getting the results that we want to get. So I want you to think for a moment about why we speak. Why do we speak? Why do we not just do a lot of print ads or Facebook ads or articles? The reason that we speak is to leverage, because it's easier and because it's more human. All right, let's talk about leveraging first. We get to reach a whole lot more people when we're speaking to a group than we would when we're speaking one-on-one. Now, we're not reaching more people than an ad would or that social media does when we're doing a speaking gig, unless we're speaking at an auditorium in front of thousands of people, which, hey, that would be great. But most speaking gigs, not that. But what we are doing is we're managing to convert at a much higher level than all of the other types of marketing out there. So when we're speaking to a group, say we're speaking to sell, it's more effective than speaking one-on-one, kind of overall bang for buck. The conversion rate isn't as high, maybe, as a one-on-one call, but it is so much higher than any other type of communication out there. So we're leveraging our time. We're reaching more people. 1 hour talk can reach a bunch of people instead of a 1 hour sales call one-on-one. So we're leveraging our time. That's the first thing. And then the second thing, which kind of is really important with the leveraging part, is that it's more time effective. It's a lot faster for me to speak for an hour to 20 or 200 people than it is for me to do 20 or 200 one-on-one calls, right? But if you spend hours agonizing about your script, is it really more time effective? If you are spending days with your PowerPoint open and Netflix open and pretending you're working on your PowerPoint, but actually you're working on Netflix, well, actually you're watching, not really working on Netflix, are we? Actually, you're procrastinating because we have all these nerves around speaking. Is it actually more time effective? Is it actually easier if we spend all of this time agonizing over getting the perfect script, the perfect words, making sure that everything is written perfectly, and then we have to memorize it. And memorizing an hour talk is not an easy thing to do. I definitely wouldn't recommend it. So ideally, we're not spending all of this time agonizing, procrastinating, getting our talk absolutely perfect. Ideally, we're becoming better speakers by speaking and just the speaking part. The thing is, if you are a business owner who is speaking as part of your business, ideally you're speaking to your core competence, right? Like you're speaking about the thing that you're good at. So, do you really need to spend hours researching and memorizing something? Couldn't you just speak from your experience? Especially if it's something you do every day, surely it's more about organizing your thoughts than creating something that you have to memorize from scratch. And this is, I think, the most important thing that I do with speakers is helping them learn how to be good speakers, not how to give one good presentation. That's a totally different thing. If you're only going to do one talk in your life, then it's worth agonizing over every single perfect word and directing it and getting it exactly right and memorizing it because you're only doing one talk and hopefully it's going to get recorded and that will get spread out into the world. But if you are a speaker, if you are someone who is networking, doing summits, doing conferences, selling from stage, connecting with other human people, either through the camera or in real life on stage, you actually want to get better at speaking than at perfecting a talk. Because then the preparation, your preparation time goes from hours and hours and hours and potentially weeks and weeks to an hour or two. Maybe you want to time it out if it's a different timing than you're used to, but also by speaking all the time, we develop our internal clock. And so you don't actually need to spend all this time on each talk. Rather, we become good at speaking because you don't become a good speaker from writing, you become a good speaker from speaking. I like to talk about the difference between a train and a Land Rover. If I have a memorized script, I've got my train and it's on my tracks and it's going and it feels great when it's going. But as soon as I go off track, it's impossible to get that train back on track and still feel good. I get flustered, I panic, I don't know where I am, I'm trying to find myself in my notes. It's a big disaster. But if I learn how to drive a Land Rover, I'm going off road, I'm going out into the water, I'm coming back, I'm going off the path and coming back all the time. I'm getting accustomed to that. And what I'm doing is I'm training my body, I'm training my brain and my mouth to work together so that I'm accustomed to forgetting what I had to say and recovering. I'm accustomed to kind of tripping over my words and recovering. And so it doesn't become a big deal. If I get inspired halfway through a talk that I've done maybe a million times, I have a new idea. I don't need to get derailed by that. I can just weave it into the content because I'm used to going a little bit off road and coming back. So that's kind of the metaphor that I like to use of doing one specific talk, memorizing it and doing it perfectly, which is a lot of work and that's much more performative. I only recommend that under certain circumstances. Or becoming a good speaker in the act of speaking itself so that you can speak at a moment's notice. And then suddenly doing a Facebook Live every week or a YouTube video every day even doesn't become a big deal because it's something that you're used to. It's a muscle that you know. Suddenly, when you're at that big conference and someone drops out or a speaker can't make it because they're snowed in or their cat died or whatever, you can put your hand up and say, I can speak for half an hour. I have something I can say without any preparation. And that is genius. So, this time effective thing, it's true, but it's only true if you do it right. And the third reason, and I think the main reason that we speak is because it's more human. We're connecting. I mean, right now we're connecting through time and space because I'm not actually here. I'm recording this. So we're kind of like connecting through the lens through time and space, and you are on the other side watching me eventually. But ideally, in most situations, the audience is on the other side. I can see their faces at least, or in their comments in the chat. In a room, I can feel their energy and I can see their frowns or their nods, and I know if they're with me or not. And so speaking becomes more of a dialogue. It becomes a back and forth of energy. Even if I'm the only one talking, I still have to listen to my audience. I still have to notice if everybody is fidgeting, I've lost them. If it's quiet and you could hear the drop of a pin, they're probably paying attention. If one person is on their phone, but everyone else is paying attention, I'm probably fine. You do need to look for those active listeners because also you never know that one person who's frowning or on their phone, they might be really digesting what you have to say, and focusing on them is really doing them and everyone else a disservice because not only am I freaking out because, oh, this one person doesn't like me and ignoring all of the other people who are listening? But also maybe they are. Maybe their facial expression is just different. You don't know. So this dialogue, this back and forth becomes very important. Um, what was I going to say about that? Oh, there is a statistic that I hear public speaking trainers use all the time, and I would like to just clear this up. The statistic is, oh, I'm going to need it on the screen to remember it. I think it's 7% what you say, 38% how you say it, and whatever else it is. Hopefully, it'll come up on the screen in a second. That triangle of there's not much of the percent is what you say, but then your vocal tone is bigger. Yeah, there we go. Phew, thank you. And then your body language is the biggest. That these statistics, this triangle is quoted a lot by people going, "Oh, you must be present because people aren't really going to listen to what you have to say." You must be present. I'm not denying that is very true. But it's not true that people only absorb 7% of what you say. If that was true, we wouldn't have the school system we have. We wouldn't be here doing this summit right now because it would be so ineffective if you only remembered 7% of what I said. This is not accurate. This is a real study and it was done, but it was not to determine how much people are listening to you to break it down that way. What the study actually was about was when your messages are mixed. So when your word choice is saying one thing, and your vocal tone is saying something else, and your body language is saying something else, where do people weight their attention? So it's not about if you are a speaker who is perfectly incongruent and in alignment. That is not what's happening. They are not only absorbing 7% of what you have to say. If you are in alignment, they are listening, they are present, they are absorbing what you have to say. I promise. Don't worry. They will hear you. They may not remember the exact words. They're not going to memorize it as you speak, but they will understand you and they will absorb your knowledge. The problem is when our messages are mixed. So if my vocal tone is saying one thing, but my word choice is saying something else. For example, I'm sure most of us have had this experience. Your spouse comes home and asks you, how are you doing? Or you come home and ask your spouse, how are you doing? And they say, I'm fine. Now we've got the word choice that is saying, I'm fine. But the vocal tone is saying, I'm not fine at all. And that is where they're going to spend their attention. They are not going to believe the word choice. The word choice is the first thing that we discount because we know, as speakers, as humans, that it is the most conscious piece of communication. Now, if we add body language to that as well, maybe we say, hey, how are you doing? And they go, I'm fine. Now we've got some attitude. Maybe it's your fault that they're not fine. We can start to infer all sorts of things from their body language as well. And so these things work in concert. Your vocal tone and your body language are much more on the subconscious level than your word choice. There are things about your word choice that can be subconscious, but most of our consciousness, most of our attention as speakers goes to the words that we choose. And so when our message is mismatched, that percentage is correct. But the rest of the time, when you are feeling your body is saying one thing, your vocal tone is saying one thing, and your voice is saying the same thing, your words are saying the same thing, you will get your point across. So I just wanted to say that because I see these statistics a lot and they scare me. Now, what's very important, because this is a human medium and because we don't want to be memorizing our scripts, the way that you speak The way that you show up, the way that you are present, that vocal tone and body language is extremely important. Because if you have the perfect script, if you have slaved over your script for weeks and weeks and weeks, and every word is amazing poetry, and no one is listening because you're speaking in monotone, or your voice is too soft, or you've got this really annoying voice that no one wants to listen to, it doesn't matter how perfect your script is. No one's going to listen. And so it's really important that we focus first on the subconscious, on the voice body instrument, on the way that we show up physically, not because your script isn't important, but because without the physicality of speech, your script doesn't matter because no one will hear it. And so this is the order we need to do things in. We need to get good not at memorizing scripts. We need to get good at showing up. We need to get good at being in our body and being present and being human with the other humans in the room or in the Zoom room or in the virtual, in their room, wherever they are, having that experience with you. I had a voice teacher when I was a student, when I was an acting student, who would start every class by saying that your voice is halfway between your head and your heart for a reason. And that is because everything that you are feeling in your body, every emotion, every physical ache and creak, we can actually hear in your voice. And everything you're thinking about yourself or about your content or about the people in the room, we can hear in your voice. Now, you may not pick up on exactly what I'm thinking, but it does affect your vocal tone. Your body, your posture, your emotional state affects your vocal tone. What you're thinking about yourself, your attitude affects your vocal tone. And so there is so much more information that is coming through than just the words you are choosing. And this is why it is so important not to memorize your script or to read your script, because there is a certain chaos to candid speech that we don't have in rehearsed speech. In rehearsed speech, I will always speak a certain way, and my pattern becomes predictable. Now, everyone has their own specific speech pattern that you can hear and you can kind of predict a little bit, but there's still going to be enough chaos, enough stopping and starting and thinking and breathing when I don't know what to say next, that your ear can hear the difference between me speaking candidly, straight from my heart, off the cuff, not unprepared, because I prepared, of course I prepared, but unmemorized, compared to someone who has memorized their script. Or even, we can pick it up without noticing. We're very good at memorizing things. So sometimes you have to really fight that need to memorize, which is why I prefer not to write my whole script down. I just write bullet points because it stops me from getting into certain speech patterns because they will put people to sleep. If we are saying the same thing in the same way, the way we would read a kid's story or, read eloquently, it's not that it's not nice to listen to. It's just that it's not fresh. It's not alive in the same way that candid speech is. And so we have to watch that when we're speaking. Are you memorizing your script? Are you writing so much down that that memorization and that rehearsal pattern is just creeping in? That can be quite dangerous. I've lost my place. Oh, yeah, okay. So I should have not let the image throw me and instead embrace the image, embrace the chaos, because that picture of me hiding is supposed to be about we don't want to be hiding behind our script. We don't want to be hiding behind our preparation. We don't want to be hiding behind our PowerPoint or our visual aids. They are there to support us. They're there to help us, but not to take the attention away from us. And this is something that I'm afraid a lot of us do as business owners. We put all this energy into creating this business, especially solopreneurs and small business owners. We put all this energy into creating something from our soul that is so important to us, and we make it and we want to advertise it, and then we go, "Oh, but I don't want to be part of my marketing. I don't want to be the face of my business." And so we take all of this love and joy and soul and passion that we've poured into it, and we try and take that out, take all the personality out of the business, and then try and market it and try and find something different to differentiate yourself. Whereas if you just let yourself be part of what has created this, let your values overlap, allow yourself to be seen. I know it's scary, but you are a human being. And your clients and your customers, even if they represent another business, they're also human beings. And human beings are emotional animals. We connect with human beings so much better than we connect with a logo or an AI script or a whole bunch of pictures with a voiceover. We want human connection. We want to trust people. We want to trust the person we're buying from. And so I am here to encourage you. Please stop hiding. Stop hiding behind a logo or behind a presentation or behind whatever it is that is keeping you safe, and allow yourself to be seen, because this is the time. AI can do pretty much everything else for you. Your humanness is all you've got left. And humans are messy. And humans are imperfect. Perfection has gone out of fashion. We are no longer interested in perfection, which is excellent news for me and for you. We don't have to be perfect. We don't even have to pretend to be perfect anymore. Now, one of the reasons that we want to hide, one of the main reasons that we feel nervous about speaking, is because of imposter syndrome. We feel like we don't deserve to be here. And I hate to tell you this, but a lot of us experience imposter syndrome because we are, on some level, pretending. Not that we're pretending, I'm not saying you're a liar, but we're pretending to be more confident than we are. Or we're pretending that our best day is every day. And it is only when we show up as our true selves, as your real self, and you acknowledge, hey, I'm not as perfect as I want to be, and we let ourselves grow in public, that we develop loyalty, that our clients see us and trust us because we're not pretending to be perfect anymore. That imposter syndrome comes from the gap between where I am and where I want to be, where what I'm presenting myself as. And now where I am might not be accurate, like how I feel about where I am might not actually be accurate about where I am. Maybe I have studied a lot and I really know what I'm talking about, but I'm quite insecure. The only way I'm going to overcome that insecurity is by doing action in public. You cannot wait for confidence to come. So even if it's not accurate, because it's more of accurate feeling than it is accurate in reality, your feeling is the most important thing about how you're showing up. And so letting yourself go, okay, I'm not where I want to be. That's okay. I'm not as polished as I'd like to be. I'm not as eloquent as I would like to be, but I'll get there. And I have these values, and I'm going to show up and be real with my clientele, with my audience, with the people that I'm speaking to, with my customers. And the more we can do that, the more we can instantly create trust. Because this speaking, this human thing that we're doing, this is how we create trust as quickly as possible. You need something like 17 touches now with like social media and print advertising and stuff. But a good speaker can create trust perhaps in just one talk, or maybe in a talk and an article, or it's significantly reduced the amount of touches we need before someone will know, like, and trust us, because they can see us if we're showing up in our truth. If you show up in a lie, if you show up and you're pretending, and when I say pretending, I don't mean like I'm swindling you out of your money. I mean, I'm just maybe pretending to be more confident than I am, or I'm pretending I'm not nervous, or I'm pretending I don't need to go to the washroom when I do, or I didn't have a terrible day and my cat didn't die. Whatever it is, if we are not fully present in ourselves and owning how we feel in this moment with our audience, they will notice. Because remember, there is all that information that comes through in the subconscious. And so I have a checklist essentially to help speakers to figure out where it is they might be holding back, where it is they might be creating a facade without meaning to, without even knowing they do it. And I have different levels of training. And your gift today, the first one, is a speaking coach in your pocket so you can carry me around. Okay, it's not really a small version of me. I wish one day, one day it'll be a small version of me. But right now, it is a compilation of the most useful tips that I have, and especially depending on what you're doing. So if you are in a specific situation, this is the tip for you. If you're in another situation, here is a checklist for you, for example. So it's like having me around. It's the advice that I would give in the most normal situations. And then my VIP gift is a full 1 hour training on how to create that message cohesion, how to get those word choices and your vocal tone and your body language all lining up so that they are saying exactly the same thing, and you know they are. And you know that you are fully present, creating that credibility and that trust. You don't need to talk about how your fancy car or your yacht. If you're real, people know you're real. They respond to you instinctively. And that is how we move into a more human way of doing business, a more efficient way, and a more joyful, fun way of doing business too. Thank you so much, Carrie, for letting me talk. I appreciate your
Awesome.
time.
Well, this is a lot of fun, and I think I just gained confidence just by listening to you. So that was great. Up at the top is the register now button. That's the QR code that you want to go to make sure that you are registered for the summit so that you can get all the free gifts. And then, of course, if you want the VIP gifts, you got to take the VIP offer. There's a whole ton of them. Amazing stuff. An hour worth of training Danielle is offering, and that's just like one of the hours. We have many, many hours of training back there from other speakers. We have a 35-hour training course on sales as well, which is part of the VIP package. So you definitely want to check that out. Make sure you're registered and then have a look at the VIP page. And also, follow along for the next speaker. Make sure that you are, liking and sharing and all that fun stuff. Subscribing. Yes, we'd love it if you would subscribe. And stay tuned for the next speaker. Thank you so much, Danielle, for being here with us today. Totally appreciate that. Let's give her a big round of applause.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure.
Awesome. And so we'll catch up with you later. Bye-bye.